Welcome to episode 203 of the Fully In It podcast. Do you struggle with feeling like you don't have enough time? If you're a mom, my guess is the answer is yes. In this episode, I'm sharing some of my tried and true time management hacks that I have learned over the years of building my business while homeschooling my kiddos. This episode is also inspired by my amazing clients who try my strategies and let me know what works and what doesn't. If you're ready for my best time hacks right now, let's go ahead and jump right in. Welcome to the Fully In It podcast with Kate Saffel, a show for powerful moms growing life-changing businesses while showing up intentionally for their families. I teach you how to create a family-first and profitable business in less time by leveraging simple strategy, mom life-friendly systems, and above all, the mindset of going fully in it. You ready? This is probably going to be a short and sweet episode, and I will explain at the very end of the episode, so make sure that you hang out with me all the way through to the very end, as I have some news that I want to tell you. But let's go ahead and first jump right into these time hacks. Now, I want to just start by saying this. No time hack is going to solve if you have an overly busy life. If you have said yes to so many things that you cannot keep up with all of them, like there's just no possible way to do everything that is on your plate, even the shiniest, best time hacks are not going to solve this. The only thing that is going to solve it is you being willing to say no, you being willing to hand off responsibility, you being willing to outsource, and eventually with time, maybe just saying no in the first place. I had joked with the women in the mastermind that November was going to be NO-vember, and I thought about naming this podcast episode that. But we're going to stick with the time hacks. Who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. We'll see what it is when I publish it. But the reason why is that this time of year, we're a few months into the school year. We are anticipating the holidays, and it feels like everything just speeds up, doesn't it? Right? Just moving faster, more expectations, more asks of you to say yes to various things, probably with your kids or with work or with home life or church or community groups that you are part of. There's always a need. And I know as heart-centered women that we want to say yes. We want to be perceived as helpful. And on the flip, we don't want to be seen as someone who isn't helpful, who doesn't lend a hand when it's needed. I know that this is something I have personally really struggled with because I always want to be the person who can be there for someone else. I really take pride in that. And also it can come at your own detriment. And so that's really my encouragement going into November. It's the end of October right now at this recording. Going into November, really think about what do you need to say no to? And I have my list, which I will be sharing at the end of this episode. And I would love to hear from you too of what are you going to say no to? Because at the end of the day, we are called to live in our values and to live family first. And if anything is getting in the way, it is time to let that go. Okay, my friend, let's jump into these time hacks. So the first one is one I've been working with clients on lately, which is, do you ever get that feeling like, oh, I just really don't want to do this task because it's going to take too long? And so you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. And yet it's taking up space in the back of your brain. It's still using up your time, even though you're not actively doing anything with it, which is like really fascinating, right? So when you have tasks that feel like they're going to take a while, I want to encourage you to decide how long you actually want it to take. Did you know you can decide ahead of time? You really can. And I would try about half of what your brain is telling you that it's going to be. We tend to overestimate how long something will take. And what happens is that your brain adapts your actions to match that estimate. So if you tell yourself a task is going to take an hour, you're probably going to take at least an hour or more. But if you only give it 30 minutes, you will get it done in 30 minutes. I want you to play with this and just experiment and see how this could be true for you. The next one is something one of my mastermind clients does, and I love this for her. I think it's such a good idea. I have played with it as well. Maybe you have also, and that is to set timers. To use a timer when you are doing work blocks to ensure that you stay on task and you don't get distracted and you stay within that amount of time that you decided on that it was going to take. Now, there are just timers on your phone that you can use. I think I think she was telling me there's an actual website for the Pomodoro method is what it's called. And that is a concept where I believe like you work for a set amount of time and then you take a break and you get a set break time as well. So look into that, the Pomodoro method. I think they have a timer online and that may be really effective for you. The next one I read about in a book, and I am really loving this, and it is to have one meaningful priority per day. And most likely this is a priority of something that you actually really want to do that would be fun or creative or special for you that would give meaning to your day. I don't know about you, but raise a hand if you're really good at checking off the boxes and not leaving room for fun in your day. Not leaving room for memory making and slowing down and just enjoying what is. So when you put a priority on your calendar and then you actually block it out, like you schedule it as if it's like an appointment or something else, you make sure that you are setting time aside for what matters most to you. So this is really funny, but one of the things that I really want to do, and this is November, this is my November yes, is crocheting. I was at my kids' homeschool co-op a couple weeks ago, and they present every week. So every child has to do a 3-minute presentation in front of their class every week, and it's just to help them learn to organize their ideas, to speak confidently in front of a group of people, and just to communicate well. And they start this from like age 4 and all the way up, which is like really cool because you can see the kids grow in their skills and their presentation skills. So one of the girls in my son's class was teaching them how to crochet. She was doing a demonstration and I was helping the boys figure out like, how the heck do you get the yarn on the hook and you pull it through? And I started making my little chain and I was like, this is so relaxing. I need to be doing this at home. And it gave me just like such a nostalgic memory of when I used to crochet a lot. And I started crocheting when I was the age of these kids that were in the class. And I used to make cat toys of all things. And I was very entrepreneurial and I sold them to, family members who would buy them. Oh goodness. So I won't be making cat toys, but I'm thinking about what I want to make. And really just the process of it, I think is going to feel really good. So your fun thing could be the same thing every day. It could be something different every day. Sometimes it needs to be something that you need to get done, right? And you need to really give that your top priority spot. But just start playing with this. And it could be, bake cookies with the kids, read aloud, go for a walk, crochet, do something creative, write, whatever it is for you. The next one is to ruthlessly eliminate your time wasters. And this title was taken from a book that I feel like I was really late to the game to read. I think I saw it quite a bit out in the world and I was like, I don't know if I really feel like reading it, but you should definitely read it. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It is written towards Christians, but I don't think that if you aren't Christian, you wouldn't still love this book, right? Like it speaks to all of us who are living in a culture that just hurries all the time. And, our pace of life is just frenetic. We're busy. And so that really inspired this particular time hack, which is to ruthlessly eliminate your time wasters. These are the things that if you were to look back on your day, they're sucking up your time and energy, and they're probably like super low value. Like I'm thinking social media, browsing on your phone, like shopping on your phone, and really anything that pulls you out of the meaningful tasks that you actually want to do for the day. Now, for me, I have talked on this podcast how I gave up Instagram which has been incredible, and I don't regret it. I'm going on 8 months now, and I really don't miss it. I really don't miss it. And I say that to encourage you if you've thought about giving up Instagram or some other social media platform. I know I was afraid I would feel like I was missing out. And the reality is I don't feel that way at all. I do get on there like once a week just to check my account and make sure like everything still looks good, but I don't scroll, or I just don't feel the desire to get back in. Now for me, I tend to lose a lot of time now on Substack and shopping on my phone, looking for cute baby stuff and things like that. And it's not that these are bad things. It's just when I think about like what would I like to be using my time for, it's maybe like reading a book, doing something hands-on with the kids, things like that. So you are the one who can figure out what your time wasters are and then put boundaries in place to help change and shift that behavior. You may need to be pretty ruthless about it. So for me, I realized I checked my email like all the time on my phone. And I had 2 different email accounts. Like I had my business one, and then I had the family one. Like I have a special email address just for family stuff. And I was checking those all day long. And I really didn't like that behavior in myself, right? It just felt like I was always waiting or anticipating something, and not always something good. I was just waiting for things to come in that would need my attention and then reacting by responding immediately. And so the way that I solved for that was I deleted all email off my phone. And I was scared to do that because I thought, well, what if something really important comes in? What if I miss something like that? Guess what? No, the house hasn't burned down yet. Like nothing has happened because there's not email on my phone. You got to think humans have lived forever before there was email on phones or social media. We had like whole thriving lives. And so all that to say, if you have felt the pull to delete email off your phone, I highly recommend it. It feels great. I especially recommend this if you have a business and you're constantly checking to see if anyone has signed up, bought your product, paid you. This can just be a really tough loop to be in, and taking it off your phone is a really great way to break it. Now, I just check my email like once a day intentionally. I get on the laptop, I take a peek at what's going on, I clear things out, and then I move on. And it is a great habit. The next one is more of a mindset shift, and it is to create a positive relationship with your time and look for ways at how you're always winning with your time. We can have such a negative opinion of time to think that there's never enough of it, to always feel like we are at the mercy of it. And I want to just offer you that is actually just a thought that you are having that doesn't have to be your reality. It doesn't have to be true to you. Time is going to be what it's going to be, regardless of what you believe about it. So what if you just chose to believe that time is on your side, that there's always more than enough, that you can figure out how to make your time work for you, and then look for evidence of how that is true. So this is just a fun game you can play where you really slow down, you stop rushing, and you trust that the time will be there that you need. The next one is a favorite among many of my clients who are just so beautifully managing home and business. And that is to move beyond just the to-do list, but to actually time block the tasks that you need to get done directly onto your calendar and give them a block of time in which you're going to focus on them. And this is really great because sometimes the to-do list can feel kind of nebulous and long, and like you're always adding to it and it never ends. And that can be very discouraging. And so going through your list regularly and culling out the things you don't have to do and then placing the things that actually do need to be done on your calendar technically gets you to an empty to-do list for the week. And that's really cool, right? And then you can relax knowing you set aside time to get that thing done. The final one is to slow down and remind yourself that there is always time for what matters most to you. And if it really feels like you don't have the time for your values, for your family, then you get to change your life to create that. There is always what you are in control of and what you are not in control of. And you have way more control over your schedule and over your days than I think most of us actually realize. And I just want to encourage you that, it's always a good time to journal on what actually matters most to you. What do you and your family value? How do you want to spend your days together? What do you want to focus your precious energy on? And then make the shifts to turn that into your reality. And you don't have to feel bad about this. You don't have to feel bad about saying no, changing your mind, doing things differently. I've always talked about this on this podcast, but my rule of thumb is I don't want to get to the end of my life and wish I had spent more time with my family, to wish I hadn't prioritized things that felt urgent but really were just reactionary. I want to enjoy this life to the fullest with the people I love most, doing work that fills my cup. And I'm sure it is the same for you. And so this is your permission slip from me to you, just telling you that if this fall has felt really busy for you, change it. Change it. You can do it. And it is okay if you do. So speaking of the changes and making changes, I got to tell you all something. So yesterday, I ended up in the emergency room with heart issues, and I have had these heart problems since my 11-year-old was a baby. I get supraventricular tachycardias, which are SVT, and it's when my heart gets up to like 220 beats per minute. And they don't happen too frequently, but when they happen, they can be pretty scary. And normally they're not too bad, and I'm able to manage them through just lifestyle shifts and then there's some techniques I use when one pops up so I can get it to stop. Well, it happened yesterday and I couldn't get it to stop. And I was home with the kids and it was really tough. And Kirk was out of town for work. And so I made the call after 2 hours of like 220 beats per minute. I made the call to go to the emergency room with the kids. And I was very thankful as a friend came in to help me with the kids until Kirk was able to get home. And I was there for several hours. They were able to get it to stop. And then they sent me home. And then I got home and I started getting stressed again. And then it started back up again. And then it went for another couple hours. And that was when Kirk got home and he was able to help me with a maneuver to get it to stop. So all that to say, I realized that I've had a lot of stress on my plate and a lot of things that I have been holding for a lot of different people, holding, in my own family and holding myself to a really high standard and coping with that by drinking too much coffee again. If you've listened to my podcast, you know how many times I've quit coffee and then I go back to it. Oh my gosh. See, everybody has their thing. And so all that to say, it was a big wake-up call for me yesterday. It was just really scary. It was scary for my kids. And I don't want them to worry. I don't want them to have that fear. And so I recognize I need to slow down more. I have to slow down what I can slow down, like I said a minute ago, about what's in my control and what's not in my control. So currently what is in my control is to pull back on some of my content production through the business. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking off from the podcast and mostly from email and mostly from the blog through the end of this year, through the end of 2025. So that means I'm not going to really be producing any new stuff and there won't be any new episodes dropping on the podcast until the new year. And I'm going to take this time to rest, to focus on my current clients, focus on my family, most of all, focus on my health and getting myself into a better state so that I can start next year healthy and strong and vibrant and ready to take care of all the things that I need to. So that's kind of my big announcement. And, I really love being creative. I really love doing the podcast, and I really love writing you emails, and I really love the blog posts. And also, you can really love something and still need to take a break from it because you look at the bigger picture of what that time allotted is taking away from. And for me, it's taking away from, getting the rest I need, walking and strengthening my heart, like doing extra food preps. I'm eating really healthy food. Things like that have just been falling to the wayside. So I just share that in case maybe you have some really good things in your life too that you love, but they're creating a bit of a cost right now and you need to take a step back from them for a little while. It is okay to do that. It doesn't say anything bad about you, and you can always return to it in the future like I plan to, but everybody needs a rest from time to time. And really, this is the beauty of having a family first business, is that you have the freedom to decide for you. You're not working for an employer who makes your schedule. You are the boss. And as the boss, you get to decide. Okay, my love, thank you so much for staying with me for this whole episode. I can't wait to see you in the new year. Don't hesitate to send me an email if you want to say hi to hello@happierinmotherhood.com. I always love hearing from you, how you're doing. What have you loved most about the podcast or the content I create, how I can support you in the future. Let me know. Drop me a line. Have a beautiful holiday season, however you celebrate. You are so loved, and I will see you soon.